Hello, I'm Linda, and this is No Frills ASMR. In a video I made just a couple days ago, I had a comment from, I feel like it was, the name was Lonnie, saying it might be interesting to make a video about the U.S. military branches. And I thought, okay, that seems fun. So this morning I was going to do that. I've spent like the last, 40 minutes just kind of looking into things and getting a little more understanding of them. I'm not, I've never been in the military. I don't have any real personal connection. So hopefully I can get this kind of right, but feel free in the comments to let me know if there's any things that didn't seem quite right. But I just looked it up, I think so. So here I have written down the different branches, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So do you know what they are? Okay, let's start. There used to be an old commercial that would go Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. So I'm going to start with the Army. Okay, so the Army is the oldest branch of the military. It was started in 1775. They are in charge of land-based operations. So like tanks, infantry, helicopters, which aren't really land-based, but they kind of are, artillery. That's the Army's. And I had a tank, remember when I did the old cars and stuff, and I searched through my box and couldn't find it, so I must have pulled it out for something. But anyway, it's the biggest branch in regards to people in the branch. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like maybe not money wise, but as far as how many people are part of it, it's the biggest branch. And it has both active duty and then also Army National Guard. So that's part of it. Army National Guard. And the Guard can be called by state governors for emergencies like floods and fires, but it can also be federalized for war. The Army's motto, is that what you call it? I guess so, is "This we'll defend." And that goes all the way back to the Revolutionary War. So there's Army. And then I thought we could do this one, Navy, because that's how the song that's in my head goes. So the Navy is in charge of sea power. So we're talking like ships, submarines, the aircraft carriers. They're in charge of protecting shipping lanes. I'll just put shipping for here. They protect like shipping lanes and other projects, across the oceans. They also have some aviation because there are planes on the aircraft carriers and patrol aircraft. So they do also have aviation. They work closely with the Marines, and their motto is "Control the seas." bit about Navy. So the next one in the commercial was Army, Navy, Air Force. Air Force. Okay, they were established after World War II. So 1947. It's kind of sloppy, sorry. They're in charge of air superiority, which includes bombers, fighters, drones. So air. I don't know, should we write? Yeah. It sounds cool. Superiority. Yeah. And then they handle a lot of military things like satellites and space launches. They protect bases. That's kind of important. They transport troops and equipment and things like that to the bases. So that's a big job of theirs, protects bases and gets them equipment. Their motto, control the skies and beyond. Okay. Next, we have Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. The Marines. Okay. How am I going to fit? I'm going to have to kind of double them up a little here, I think. Whoops. Okay. The Marines. They're technically they're part of the Navy, but they're their own branch. They specialize in amphibious assault. In other words, going from sea to land. So, hold on, I'm going to have to be quiet while I think how to spell it. Amphibious assaults. Okay. They're known for being rapid response. Like one of their things is tip of the spear. So they're rapid response. They're kind of a smaller, more elite reputation with very tough training. Why does that look spelled wrong? I guess it's not tough training. And that's not to say anything else isn't, but they do say that about that. I don't know. And then they also have their own aviation wing with helicopters and fighter jets. And their kind of, famous motto is Semper Fidelis. I hope I'm saying that correctly. It's Latin for always faithful. And I think sometimes they say Semper Fi. Although, interestingly, I've heard it Semper Fi. So I don't really know. But it comes from Fidelis, which is Latin. We'll put that there. Okay. Semper Fi. Oh, whoops. Okay. I don't know what I'm doing. All right. Now, the next one isn't in my commercial song, so we'll just pick one. Let's do Space Force. Space Force. Okay, this is the newest branch of the military. They were founded in 2019. They handle satellites, missile warning, space operations. So, satellites, missile warnings, and space operations. Space, I can't fit it, so we'll just go like that. Okay. And they're the smallest branch of the military, but they're growing. Anybody know what their motto is? It is also Latin. Oh my gosh, I'm having trouble speaking. It is Semper Supra. Supra, which means always above. Always above, or Semper Supra. So that is Space Force. Oops, sorry. Get my stuff out of the way here. All right, and then the last one, not least, last but not least, is the Coast Guard. And the Coast Guard is focused on maritime law enforcement and search and rescue. Maritime law enforcement. And importantly, search and rescue also. They protect the U.S. coast and waterways, all the coasts within and, outside and within the U.S. They're unique in that they operate under the Department of Homeland Security. In peacetime, but they can be transferred to the Navy in wartime. So when it's peacetime, they're under the Department of Homeland Security. If we go to war, then they can be transferred to the Navy. So the Marines and the Coast Guard would be under the Navy. Interesting. That's something I didn't know until today. They bust drug smugglers, rescue ships in storms, they inspect vessels, they do all that kind of work. And their motto, and I hope I say this correctly, also Latin, is Semper Paratus, which means always ready. Always ready. Whoops. Semper Paratus, always ready. Did I get them all? Let's see. We have Semper Fidelis, Semper Supra, control the skies and beyond, control the seas, this will defend. Okay. And that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. There we go. So that was interesting. I remember when I have 3 boys, and when they turned 18, you go to the post office, at least that's what we did, and they all U.S. males who are 18 are required to register with a selective service. So U.S. males. Now some countries, I believe, make you do a couple years of military service like every adult. But in the U.S., all U.S. males who are 18 sign up for selective service. It's not actually joining the military. It just means that if there were a national emergency and Congress were to reinstate the draft, then the government would have a list of names they could pull people from. There hasn't been a draft since 1973 for the Vietnam War, but registration is required if you want to get student loans or a government job, or for immigrants to get citizenship. Right now, women are not currently required to sign up, and this has been debated a lot, but it hasn't changed at this point. Yeah, so that is the selective service. Each branch has, different leaders like officers, and they're usually college graduates if you're an officer. And then you have enlisted, who are majority kind of hands-on jobs, but they can also rise up in the ranks to senior leadership. And then there are academies where you can go to school to become an officer, like West Point. Well, actually, here you have West Point. That is a army. In Annapolis, and I can remember, I'm old enough to remember when you could drive around the Annapolis Navy Marine base there, or training facility, whatever you call it. What do you call it? Academy. But last time, I forget why we went there for some reason, and my dad was like, let's drive around, and they wouldn't let us in, but that would have been years ago. But before 9/11, I think you could kind of go drive around and look at it. It's pretty. And maybe my memory is wrong, but I think that's right. That's Annapolis. There is the Air Force Academy, the Coast Guard Academy. Oh, and then there are these new, they're called pipeline programs for Space Force. I guess those are the only ones I know. I don't. Yeah, so that's kind of interesting, I think. You know what I should have looked up that I didn't? I know the National Guard can be activated by the governors, but the president can also activate it. I know that's a political hot topic, so maybe that's why I didn't look it up, because I'm like, I've had enough being barked at in the comments right now. So I don't know. I'm not going to get into all that. It can be for state governors, can use it for emergencies. It can be federalized for war. I don't know the ins and outs of all the rest of that, and I'm not getting into it right now. So there you go. There are the different military branches. And hopefully I did okay on that. I remember doing a little bit one time with the Army, because they had the, parade and everything. So we looked at all the different, we kind of looked up the Army a little bit before. I know I've done that before. But, and if you like this video, you might like the video I made about the American flag, how you're supposed to treat the American flag, how to fold a flag properly. Also one about the bald eagle and why it was nearing extinction for a long time and how we solved that problem. Interesting stuff. After World War II, air superiority protects bases, controls the skies and beyond. Marine Corps, amphibious assaults, rapid response, elite and tough training, Semper Fidelis. Okay. Air Force is the newest branch. Satellites, missile warning, space operations, the smallest branch. And they say always above or semper supra. Oops. You know what I'll do? I'll draw a picture for each one of these. How about that? That'll be fun. Okay. Coast Guard, Maritime Law Enforcement, Search and Rescue. U.S. Coast Guard, Department of Homeland Security. Always ready. Semper Paratus. Okay. Let's see if we can draw a picture. Just so you know, I'm also not that kind of artist. I'm kind of an artist, but I'm not that kind of artist. All right, for Army, let's try to do a tank. That looks like a ship. Hold on. Don't worry, it's going to get better. say Navy. Navy. Okay, let me think. Let's do. Like birthday cake. Navy. And then Air Force. We'll do an airplane. Okay, here we go. There's a guy up front. Maybe the airplane's wings should come off like this. Okay. Marines. Space Force. Let me think on the Marines. Space Force can do a rocket. Okay. Coast Guard. Coast Guard. Okay. Uh-oh. This one's going sideways on me. You have to color it in to make it look better. Then you'll see it. I'm sorry, that one did not turn out as well as I wanted. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's not too bad. All right, Marines. See if you can. It's supposed to be a glove. Gosh, that doesn't look very good. I don't quite know how to do. Let's put an eagle in here. All right. Sure. There we go. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. So we have the Army. We have the Navy. We have the Air Force. We have the Marine Corps. We have Space Force. just remembered that there is a video by another ASMR video content creator, and she was in the army, I think. I think it was here, yeah. And she made a video talking about her experience, and it was good. Like, I think I cried watching it. I'll try to remember to try to find it and link it in the description if you're looking for another ASMR video about military. It was good. I mean, she didn't have a excellent experience necessarily, but it was a good video to listen to. Alright. I will talk to you soon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. The Army, the oldest branch, land-based operation. Navy is sea power, protects shipping. Air Force was created after World War II in 1947 and is in charge of air superiority. Marine Corps is amphibious assaults, rapid response. Space Force is in charge of satellite